I say, I am already working for ODS 53 years as of now. So it's just because I am old and because I was lucky to find the true path when I was 17. So I had a lot of things to say about it. Much of it, not all of it, is written in my blog, Free Haifa blog. You can find it easily. And also in the Free Haifa blog, you will find the documentation from, I think, more than 10 different movements, initiative, conferences for ODS. So you are welcome. What about the presentation?
Yeah, just put it in.
What?
Yeah, just put it in.
Okay.
You didn't send the presentation.
What?
You didn't send the presentation.
I sent you it.
You just sent it.
Okay, no presentation. Anyway. Okay. So I think the previous speakers, especially the last two speakers, gave a very good introduction to what I want to say, because I think that the question is what we really aim for, and I think it should be clear that what we aim for is the liberation of Palestine. And it is wrong to look at ODS as if it is mainly around the accommodation for Jews in Palestine after the liberation. This is, I don't want to say the least thing on my mind, but it doesn't make the first five. And I think there are the presentation of the issue as ODS is sometimes misleading ourselves, because it speaks about a political framework after the liberation. So it misleads us in different ways. First of all, it leads us to utopian discussion about what will be after the liberation, while the most important discussion is how to reach this liberation. On another level, it poses as if ODS is a special party inside the Palestinian movement, or outside the Palestinian movement, while the movement off the ground is very rich and very has very intensive experiences in life and struggles, and you cannot build ODS, like the future of Palestine, outside of the real struggle of the people. And on the third level, and I will return to each level, I just want to make the framework clear. On the third level, looking at the map of Palestine is speaking about political framework for Palestine is also misleading, because the Palestinian problem is not special to Palestine. For example, we have the Golan Heights, which is already occupied. We don't occupy after the Israelis, so we don't add it to the map of the Palestinian problem. But the fate of the people that are under occupation also for 50 years in the Golan Heights is the same fate as the fate of the Palestinians in Palestine. But also, there is, as the Arab world failed to solve the Palestinian problem, there is Palestinization of the Arab world. Like today, Israel is on daily military aggression against Lebanon. So Lebanon is not an independent state when it is bombed every day and it cannot be replied in any way. It is also acquiring new territories in Syria and bombing all along Syria, not only on the border area. So Syria cannot be an independent state as long as Palestine is not independent. And it actually, because of American hegemony, it is also actually part of a system that prevents any kind of independence in the Arab world and beyond, because also Iran is attacked and also Turkey is under pressure and so on. So we have to look in the wider context, but if I have time, I wanted to start with some success before I speak about the challenges. So I say I am a member of a movement called Abna al-Balad, which is Sons of the Country, which is a Palestinian movement that exists from '69 in Palestine, and call for the liberation of Palestine and for the establishment of democratic secular Palestine. And we had the experience of, we failed, okay? First I say we failed all along and not alone. We failed in the main task of liberating Palestine, but we don't feel that we are to blame. There are strong forces working against us. But we succeeded in many things. Actually, we succeeded, even that Abna al-Balad is a small, relatively small movement. We succeeded to set the schedule, the political schedule for the Palestinian population in '48. We were raising the Palestinian flag when it was illegal, and later, and when it was illegal, some other parties were attacking us for raising the Palestinian flag, and now everybody is accepting and how much they can raise the Palestinian flag, it depends on the level of oppression at every point, but it is accepted as the flag of all Palestinians also inside '48. We were, I remember in 49 years to the Nakba, we issued the first pamphlet inside the Green Line that called it a Nakba and said that the establishment of the State of Israel was a Nakba of the Palestinian people. And the people that wrote this pamphlet were arrested for writing the word Nakba at this occasion. And today everybody, even in the Knesset, they speak of the Nakba. This word became an international word. And what is more important, the right of return. I remember myself in the first day of activity, we were speaking about the right of return, and all the other Palestinian parties were saying you are unrealistic, you are, we want real political solutions and you are disturbing the political process. And now nobody will dare speak about the right of return in 48 Palestinians. So we actually, the main issues that we worked about became from a niche of a small group of radicals, became the consensus of the Palestinian population in 48. So we can continue to set by working, not because we are so strong or so smart, but because the truth is stronger than lies, and so we can set the agenda also on this issue of the solution of one democratic state. So this is on the strong part. I want to say some problematic issues from our short experience. In 2000, then we had two big ODS conferences, but the conferences, to be exact, were under the title "The Right of Return and the Secular Democratic Palestine." This was the title of the two conferences that we held in Haifa in 2008 and in 2009. In each conference, there were about 300 participants, very mixed population. So it was really unbelievable success, even for us, for the people that organize these conferences. The first conference concentrated on the internal public within the 48, and there was big presence, including all the Arab parties, and including many activists, Jewish activists, mainly from democratic NGOs and so on. And there was dozens of people that wanted to form, were ready to actively participate in a front for promoting the idea of one democratic state. And unfortunately, we didn't follow up on it. Not the people that were in the conference, but we didn't have the organizational potential to really follow up on it. The second conference in 2010, we concentrated on international advocacy for one democratic state and on all Palestinian support and on international advocacy. We had congratulations to the conference from Ahmed Saadat from prison. And we had relatively important international presence, including the MST, which is probably the biggest leftist organization outside China. So it was, and they came in order to cooperate in the struggle for one democratic state. And also the Green Party from the United States sent an official delegation in support of this conference. And we wanted to make a coalition. This was our intent, to build an international coalition to support this solution, the right of return and the secular democratic Palestine. Unfortunately, at the end of this conference, we didn't agree about one thing, which was the word secular. Because some of the Palestinians in this conference were from religious tendencies, and other Palestinians in this conference were from secular tendencies. And we had a big meeting, and we didn't agree about this definition. And the other parties, the international parties, told us, "You Palestinians, you solve your issues before, and we will follow whatever you decide." And this was about the end of this attempt to build an international coalition for ODS. Then there were, I don't say about all the situations, but I just highlights. So in 2012, there was a meeting in Munich, which was about the side of this meeting, or not so big, but it was not lectures, but it was a workshop, which tried to solve the problem that was stayed open in 2010. And we discussed people from different Palestinian tendencies. What was special about it? It was not organized by one tendency, but an attempt to bring together people from different Palestinian tendencies to find the common platform for ODS, and we came out with the Munich Declaration of 2012. And after this declaration, we made a working group to follow up and to establish contact with different groups that support ODS, because there were different groups, initiatives in different places. And we concentrated on building the organization in Palestine. We succeeded to build several groups, local activist group in Palestine. So I thought that the Munich Declaration was a big step forward, especially because it was agreed by both secular and Islamic tendencies that supported the solution. So this is some of the heritage that I bring to you, and I hope that you can build on it and succeed, Yani. So I want to go back to the 3 challenges that I spoke in the beginning. First of all, we have to speak, I think, mainly about the liberation of Palestine, and to discuss the liberation of Palestine. And I think this is a more important and more interesting discussion. It doesn't say that we throw away our concept what should be the last, what should happen after liberation. But I think that it is important that we concentrate our effort, our thinking about the way to liberation. There is something, because I don't have the notes, so I may jump a little bit. But I want to say something else before I go to the essential notes. I come from Haifa, you might know it. Awad, that had to come from Kaukab in the Galilee, he was arrested on Thursday, and he is now under house arrest. So he cannot come. He sent a short video, but he had a long presentation. So I have to apologize and to be transparent with you that I cannot, unlike the other speakers, I don't really say whatever I think, because I'm going to Haifa tomorrow, and you have to understand it. At least whatever I say are things that I believe in, okay? But not the other way. So in ODS, and this is something I spoke also with Awad, he wanted me to clarify it. In ODS, we have to give some organizational leniency to the fact that we are like the fish that live in aquarium, okay? And we are not free to go wherever we like and to speak whatever we like, and we try to find whatever margins of political expression and movements that we can exploit in order to work with masses, because we still can do some work with the masses inside 48 within the limits that will not put us for long periods in jail. Especially, it's not you know that Israeli jails today are much worse than they have ever been. Like torture is it's not the exception but the rule. So never mind even if you are in prison for Facebook expression or something. Like some people were, because they wrote on Facebook in the 7th of October, they somehow wrote on the Facebook "Good morning." They were arrested and tortured, claiming that this was the support of Hamas. So so there is some, and you maybe heard of Raja Arbaria. That was just a few months ago. He was in 4 months of administrative detention. And as we speak, there is a, like I was in the court a week ago, and we happened to be near the room where they bring administrative detention. So on one day they brought 5 new administrative detainees to the court in Haifa, and nobody knows how many there are and where they put them. So it's not very easy situation to be active in. Okay, so I want to go back to how I think we concentrate on the main task of liberating Palestine, and why I think it is not separated from our vision of ODS, but I think that the vision of the activity of ODS and the narrative of ODS should change in order to orient more on this on the struggle for liberation of Palestine. I think it is a mistake to think that ODS is all the time we contrast ODS to the two-state solution. Okay? But there is no two-state solution. Why we should fight all our life against this two-state solution? There is one fascist apartheid state. So ODS is not the alternative to the two-state solution. ODS is an alternative to the fascist apartheid state. Okay? So this is one thing. So I think we waste much of our time in discussion against the two-state solution. What we have to say is that there is no two-state solution. And I think that there was sometimes a slogan, we are for the establishment of a Palestinian state on any liberated Palestinian land. I think this is a reasonable position, which is not like the two-state solution. But I don't want, this could be a subject of discussion. I don't want to suggest it now as a practical issue, but I think it's, we can orient to the main goal and not, but I think the difference between two-state solution and one-state solution is not the solution. The difference is a state of mind. Because when we say ODS, we say the liberation of Palestine, we assume a victory over the Zionism. We assume changing of the balance of forces so that the Palestinian people will be able to decide their fate and will be able to decide what will happen in Palestine. When we think about two-state solution, I have to finish? When we think about two-state solution, we assume that Israel and imperialist hegemony will stay, and we find a place for Palestinians in some corner of Palestine in a way that will not threaten the Israeli and Palestinian and American hegemony. So when we speak about ODS translated to current tactic, we do everything that we can in order to dismantle or to lessen the powers of Zionism. When we think about two-state solution, we think how to assure the Zionists that they are here forever. Okay? So when we think about ODS, we think to delegitimize the apartheid regime. When we think about two-state solution, one way is to, most of the people that speak about the two-state solution, they actually act to legitimize the apartheid regime in this way or that. So actually the question is not what I have in my dreams after the victory. The question is what I am doing today. Am I doing whatever I can in order to make the forces of evil less powerful, or am I trying to make myself more acceptable to the forces of evil? This is a different approach. I am ready to finish, but if you give me a little bit more, I will be thankful.
30 seconds.
What?
30 seconds.
Okay. So I'll jump to the other issues which I think very important. I think it is like people ask us, we are working on ODS, we are making no progress. I don't think so. I think that if we have today, we hear the slogan, from the river to the sea, I think it is great progress for ODS all around the world. And it is not by chance that the slogan, from the river to the sea, is the thing that frightens the Zionists most, that is fought against by the imperialist powers everywhere. And of course, as far as the Palestinian struggle is getting stronger and get more solidarity, then this is a slogan that you hear everywhere. So we are making a great progress. I think the program of ODS, we don't have to look at ODS as a different, as a new parties that have to compete against the other Palestinian parties. I think that ODS is a program for victory for the Palestinian struggle. And all the parties that take part in the Palestinian struggle, ODS is a proposition for them to consider. And I think that what is changing, what is important in acceptance or not acceptance of ODS, if you look at it in the right way, is how much people are inclined to believe that they can win. If they can win, if they believe that they can defeat Zionism, then they start to think what is the best way to live in Palestine. And then I think the choosing ODS is a question for Palestinians to think what kind of state they want to live after victory. If somebody say, okay, after victory I want to live in a dictatorship, in the monarchy, okay, it is right. It doesn't, by the way, it doesn't disturb me to work with him against the genocide or against, or for the toppling of apartheid. But this is a discussion along the way. But I think the natural thing for people today, the natural things for people today is to, when they believe that they can win, they naturally think of democratic Palestine. When they believe that they cannot win, when they believe that the Zionists will always be stronger, then they look for a niche to live, for a place to live when the Zionists will not be able to beat them, like Bantustan state or whatever. So last thing I want to say, for me it is very important that we will cooperate with all kinds of Palestinian parties and with all kinds of Arab parties. And I want specifically to say that with Islamists, with socialists, and with liberal Democrats, they all have part in the struggle. Nobody have monopoly of the struggle. And for too long time we lost many battles because we didn't cooperate with everybody. And put your eyes upon the prize, and we can get there.